Hi everyone, today we are going to do our last day of notes, day 5 on variables on both sides. So these are equations where the variable is on both the left and the right side, okay? And it's not any more complicated than what we're already doing, it's just like one extra step, okay? So let's go ahead and talk about when we just have variables on both sides. So no distributing, no combining, just an x on one side and x on another side, or whatever variable. Step 1, we're going to move the variable to the left side of the equal sign. So we are always going to have it on this side. Okay? And then step 2, solve using inverse operations. Once we have moved the variable to the left side, it creates the two-step equation, which we all know how to do. Okay? So example 1, we're going to solve this. We have negative 5y equals 3y minus 4. Now, the way we're going to move this variable, because we need this 3y to be over here on the left side with this other y, okay? We are going to still use inverse operations. So if you just imagine this is a 3, we're going to move it the exact same way. So this is a positive 3y. To undo that and to move it using inverse operations, we are going to subtract 3y from both sides, okay? So we do it from on one side and we do it on there. These 3 y's will cancel out, which leaves us with just negative 4 on this side. So you can cross these out. In fact, I'm actually going to downsize and I'm going to cross them out because it's a lot better when we cross them out. So those will cancel out. Okay? Here, these are like terms because these are both y's. So we're going to go ahead and combine it. Negative 5 minus 3. And that will give us negative 8, and we just bring the y down because they're both y's. Here, it was just a negative 4 left, so we brought it down. Now, this is actually only a one-step equation, so we're going to go ahead and solve. I'm going to undo this by dividing by negative 8 on both sides. These 8's will cancel out, leaving me with just y, and over here, I got negative 4 divided by negative 8. I can do that in the calculator. And I get y equals 1/2, the fraction, or I can just write it as 0.5. Okay? This one, we have an extra term in here. That's okay. This is more like something you'll see. So we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to first move all the variable terms, so this negative 2a, to the left. Okay? So it's a negative 2. To undo that, I'm going to subtract 2a. I'm going to subtract 2a from both sides. These 2a's will cancel out. Oop, did that a little bit too far. Erase. There we go. And these 2a's, I'm going to go ahead and add. So 4 plus 2 gives me 6a. I bring down the minus 6, and I bring down the 18 from the other side. Okay? Now it's just a two-step equation. I'm going to go ahead and add 6 to both sides to get rid of that constant. These will cancel out. So that'll leave me with 6a on this side equals 24 over here. Now I'm going to divide by 6. These 6's will cancel out, leaving me with just the a. And then on the other side, I do 24 divided by 6. I get a equals 4. And that is my final answer. Okay? Something that we did not talk about was that you can check your answer. Every time you do an equation, you can easily check it to make sure you got it correct. Okay? So I'm going to quickly show you how you can check it. Here we have 4a minus 6 equals negative 2a plus 18. But we just found out what a was. So what we're going to do is we're going to substitute the a back in here. So I'm going to type 4 times a, which is 4, minus 6 equals negative 2 times 4 for a plus 18. So let me just adjust this so it actually reads properly. Oop, not that way. Nope, nope, nope. All right. So the way I can check this, and I'm just going to write check up here. You guys should do this too. I know it's not in there. I'm going to go ahead and simplify. So on this side, I'm going to do the multiplication first. And on this side, I'm going to do the multiplication first, because that's what GeoGebra says to do. So I'm just going to simplify each side and hope that they equal the same thing. So here I get 4 times 4 gives me 16. Oop, minus 6. Move this over here. Oop, and adjust that. There we go. And that's supposed to equal, here we go. And then I do the negative 2 times 4 gives me negative 8. And then plus 18. Okay. Now I'm going to do the subtraction for each one. So I'm going to do the 16 minus 6 and the negative 8 plus 18. Okay. So that will give me 10 over here. And on the other side, negative 8 plus 18 gives me 10. So it came out to be something equal. When that happens, that means that you got the correct answer. So if it gave you a true statement, 10 does equal 10, your answer is correct, so you know you got this right. You can always check your answer to make sure you're good. Okay? So now you guys are going to try these two on your own. Go ahead and try those 2 steps. Just move the variable term to the other side and solve it. And I would suggest doing a check to see if you're right. Okay, go ahead and give it a check. Now we're going to talk about distributing when there's variables on both sides. Pretty much what we're already doing, we're just kind of like merging it all together. So you guys already practiced this. So step 1, distribute anything that's on the left side of the equal sign. So if you have a distributive property on the left, do that. Step 2, distribute on the right side. So if you have parentheses on the right, do that one. Step 3, move the variables to the left and the constants to the right, like we just did in the first example. And step 4 is to solve. Okay? So let's try these examples. So step 1, distribute anything on the left. Well, we don't actually have anything to distribute here, so we can skip that step. Step 2 says distribute on the right. So we do have something to distribute here. So we have the negative times 8x plus 32. Well, remember, whenever you don't see a number there, it's got an invisible 1. So it's a negative 1 being multiplied by that. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute that negative 1 to the 8 and to the 32. Okay? And I do that multiplication. Over here, I didn't touch anything, so I'm just going to rewrite the same thing. So I have something that disappeared, apparently. So I get negative 4x minus 24, that's the side that didn't do anything, equals, and now over here, I'm doing negative 1 times 8x, so I get negative 8x, sorry. And negative 1 times, what is this? Negative 1 times 32, so that gives me negative 32. Okay, and I'm just going to shrink this down so it actually fits in there, and I'm going to change the color because I can. Okay, now I need to move all my variables to the left side. Okay, now that all the distributing is done. So I'm going to go ahead and add 8x to both sides to move it over here. So now I have this side, it will cancel out on it. So the 8x's will cancel out. Over here, I just go ahead and add. So negative 4 plus 8, that gives me 4x. I bring down the minus 24, I bring down the minus 32. And I include the sign with the 32. So now it's just a 2-step. I go ahead and solve. I add 24 on both sides. These guys will cancel out. So did that. So now I have 4x equals negative 8 because I just went ahead and added that. Divide both sides by 4. And, oh, there you go. X equals negative 2. You guys can include this line if you want to. And I'm just going to cross these out since I can. Okay. On this guy, I look on the left side first. Do I have anything to distribute? Yes, I do. I'm going to distribute the -4 to the 3 and to the 3y. And I'm going to go ahead and do that math. So I do -4 times 3 gives me -12. -4 times 3y gives me -12y. And I just bring it down. And I bring down the other side because I haven't done anything to that. Now over here on the right side, there's nothing to distribute. So I'm going to go ahead and move my variables to the left. So to undo this plus 2y, I'm going to subtract 2y from both sides. These guys will cancel out, and these guys will just go ahead and add together or subtract. So I have -12 minus 2. So I bring down the -12 in the front, do this math, I get -14y, and then bring down the -12 here. Now it's just 2 steps. So I'm going to go ahead and add 12y or 12 to both sides. These guys will cancel out. The -14 comes down. The -14 comes down. Over here, it just gives me 0. I have to keep going until y is by itself, though. So I'm going to undo this multiplication by dividing both sides by -14. These guys will cancel out, leaving me with just the y. And 0 divided by -14 just gives me 0. Don't forget to check your work. Okay? You can easily plug it back in to make sure you got the correct answer. Okay? You can plug it back in for all the y's there and see if it comes out to be equal. Alright? So you guys are going to try these two on your own. Give it a try. You can pause the video and then continue when you're done. Alright, now we're going to talk about combining like terms with variables on both sides of the equation. So step 1, combine like terms that are on the left side. Step 2, combine like terms that are on the right side. If you need a second, don't forget to pause the video so you can write it down. Step 3, move all the variables to the left. And step 4, solve. This is getting very similar and very repetitive. Like all the steps we've done are basically the same thing. Okay, so example 3, we're going to first look for our like terms. I want a highlighter. The highlighter is so much better. Haha. Okay, so on this side, we have an 8x and we have a -35. No like terms on that side, so I move to the other. Here, I have a 5, which can be combined with a 10 because they're just constants, and I'm left with this 18x. So I'm going to go ahead and combine what I can and just rewrite it. So nothing over here is going to be combined, but over here the 5 and the 10 can be added. So 5 plus 10 will give you 15. Everything else just got brought down because I couldn't combine it. Now I'm going to move my variable to the left side, so I'm going to subtract the 18x from both sides. These guys will cancel out. Do it with a crayon. Okay. Oh gosh. We'll do it with a pen. These guys will cancel out. Over here, I go ahead and add it. 8 minus 18 gives me -10x, and I bring down the 35 and the 15. Now I just go ahead and solve. So I add 35 to both sides. I get -10x. I get -10x equals 50. Divides both sides by -10. And I get a number. I do, I promise. I get x equals -5. Okay? And that is my answer. Okay? And I can double check it to make sure by plugging it back in. Alright? Then over here, I'm going to go ahead and figure out which ones are like terms. So I check the right side. I got a 6y, and I have a -2y. So those are like terms. And I have a -10 here, but that's not a like term with anything. On the other side, I have a -5y, and I have an 8. So those aren't like terms. I can't combine them. So now I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it by combining this. So 6 minus 2 will give me 4y, and then I bring down the -10 and everything else I didn't combine. Now I'm going to move this to the left side, this variable to the left side. So instead of -5y, I'm going to add 5y. So now I get 9y minus 10 equals 8. Now it's just two-step, I solve. Add 10 to both sides. They cancel out, so I'm left with 9y equals 18. Divide both sides by 9. Maybe I'm going to divide both sides by 9. Ooh, this is hard to do when you don't have a pen. And it comes out to be y equals 2. And that's my final answer. Again, I can check it to make sure. Okay? You guys are going to try these two on your own. And then finally, if it's all together, so we got combining, distributing, and variables on both sides, this is the really big extreme one. Okay? We're going to go ahead and do this. So first, we're going to simplify each side, and we do that by asking, can we distribute? Can we combine like terms? And then we're going to move all the variables to the left side. Okay, so distribute, combine, and move your variables. Then we go ahead and solve using inverse operations, just like we always have for a two-step. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is distribute. I'm going to distribute the 2 to the 4x and to the 7. And that will give me 8x plus 14. And then I bring down the plus 4 and the 32 and the x. Now there's nothing on this side to distribute, so I can move on to the next one. What about like terms? Here, I have an 8x, and there's no other x's, but I have a 14 and a 4. I can combine those. 14 plus 4 will give me 18. Over here, there's no like terms, so I just bring it down. Now I'm going to move my x term right here, that's 1x, to the other side. So instead of plus x, I'm going to subtract an x. I'm going to subtract an x here. Now remember, that's an invisible 1. Okay? So it's 8 minus 1 that I'm doing, and it gives me 7x plus 18 equals 32. Now I just go ahead and solve. Subtract 18. Oh, that doesn't want to write. Subtract 18 from both sides. There we go. And I will get 7x equals 32 minus 18. That is 14? 14, yeah. So I get 14. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 7. So divided by 7. Divided by 7. Okay. So what I end up with is x equals 2. And that's my final answer. Okay. Over here, I've got 15 minus that invisible 1 times y plus 7. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute that negative 1 to the y and to the 7. So I get 15 minus y minus 7 equals negative 14 plus y. There's no other distributing anywhere here, so I go into the combining part. Here I have a 15 and a minus 7. 15 minus 7 gives me 8, and I just bring down the minus y and the other side. There's no like terms on this side, so I go ahead and move. So here I'm going to move this y to the other side. So I'm going to subtract y from both sides. Okay, both of them have that invisible 1 in front of the y. So negative 1 minus 1, it gives me negative 2. Bring down the 8 that I didn't touch, bring down the negative 14. Now I just go ahead and solve. So this is a positive 8. So here, I'm going to go ahead and add 8 to both sides. Oh, goodness. Plus 8 on both sides. And so now I have negative 2y equals negative 6. And then I can go ahead and divide by negative 2. I'm having some technical difficulties going on right here. So I go ahead and I'm going to move this. So now I just go ahead and divide. These guys will cancel out. So I get y equals positive 3. And that's it. Okay? So now you guys are going to try this on your own. Try these two. We'll go over the answers next class. If you guys have any questions, write them down. Okay? I will see you guys next time. Have a great day.